Hello everyone, it is Questorian here, and welcome back to another video, which is going to be on the game No Man's Sky. And if you can tell from the title of the video, this is going to be discussing a phenomenon known as phantom stars. And this is going to be a more scripted video. I'm not just going to be doing live commentary here. I'm just going to run through the script that I just wrote out. It's nothing crazy, but I'm going to do that. Gonna do a quick tutorial on how to get to phantom stars after running through exactly what they are and why they exist in No Man's Sky. Thanks for being here, I guess, and let's get right into it. So, for those of you who might not know, No Man's Sky is a procedurally generated space exploration game featuring the potential for up to around 18 quintillion planets. There aren't currently 18 quintillion planets, which is a common misconception. 18 quintillion planets have the potential to exist, but due to hardware limitations, they aren't actually created until a user encounters them, and then they are stored on the server, which is why the game is actually only around 10 gigabytes file size. I think it might be up to 12 now, but despite just the vastness of the universe and what you're able to explore. So, in a game as massive as No Man's Sky, obviously you are bound to discover some strange oddities dispersed throughout the seemingly endless universe. However, there is one particularly obscure aspect of this universe that is so obscure, without certain specific ways to get to them, it is truly impossible without a save edit. Today we are talking about the vast world of hidden stars in No Man's Sky, known as phantom stars, going over exactly what they are, and most importantly, how do you get to them? So let's get right into it. Now, what exactly are phantom stars? Not to be confused with an equally strange oddity, the shadow star, which are in fact accessible in-game through ridiculously difficult trial and error. Phantom stars are currently impossible to reach in No Man's Sky without one or two means of access to them, which I will get into in a minute. To fully comprehend what exactly phantom stars are, you need to first have a grasp of how the No Man's Sky universe is structured. First, we have the universe itself, the entirety of what the game has to offer. The universe contains 255 accessible galaxies within the game, plus unlimited others, but that's for another video as well. Each galaxy consists of anywhere from 3 to 4 billion regions, which in turn consist of up to slightly under 600 star systems at the maximum in each one. Each system consists of anywhere from 2 to 6 stellar bodies, either planets or moons. For the purposes of this video, we will be focusing on the regions within each galaxy, probably the most unknown of the general scale in the No Man's Sky universe. Regions aren't commonly used as a way to document the universe. They are merely there as just a means for people to, I guess, separate stars into different categories. I'm not sure entirely what their purpose is, but they exist nonetheless. And essentially, these regions are the key to these strange hidden stars known, again, as phantom stars. Remember earlier when I stated that each region contains up to 600 star systems? See, that isn't entirely true. The aforementioned nearly 600 systems actually only pertains to the systems that are accessible within No Man's Sky itself, and by that I mean accessible by normal means of reaching them. In reality, each region contains precisely 4,096 systems each, with the vast majority not being accessible within the game. So why do these even exist? You can't access them normally in the game. They're incredibly tedious and difficult to get to if you don't know what you're doing, so what purpose do they serve? I'm not personally sure exactly why, because I don't have the game knowledge or coding knowledge to fully comprehend it. However, my best answer that I can give for this is rooted in how the game generates new systems and planets. With No Man's Sky relying entirely on procedural generation to create its many worlds, the vast majority of systems within the game are undiscovered and thus don't actually exist yet. They will only exist once someone finds them and enters them. This means that, in theory, nearly infinite planets could exist within the No Man's Sky universe. However, the game puts a cap on the number of accessible systems and planets within the game, likely to prevent the game from getting more cluttered than it already is. However, due to the procedural generation of the No Man's Sky universe, these normally inaccessible systems have the potential to exist. They just require a bit of save manipulation. And with the maximum theoretical number of systems in each region being 4,096, despite none getting close to this number, each value up until this true cap pertains to a system that can be generated on the fly for a player to access and explore if they are willing to do a bit of extra work. And this doesn't even scratch the surface. Within the given galaxy core, and supposedly, from what I understand, in various gaps in the universe, and even probably beyond the edges of the universe, the accessible universe, I should say, additional glitched regions exist containing even more systems to explore. The most well-known phantom star, called Likolu, exists in one of these glitched regions inside the Euclid galaxy core. Granted, due to the nature of these systems being impossible to access in regular gameplay, they have the potential to be a bit glitchy. I haven't personally encountered anything game-breaking, but the potential is there, so there is a warning, because it could potentially mess up your save, and obviously you don't want that. So again, I would make an extra save to do this. A creative one would probably be fine, but don't use your regular save if you care about it. So how do you access these systems anyways? What benefit is there to do so at all? I'll answer the latter question first. To be honest, there isn't really any benefit. The vast majority of systems in No Man's Sky continue to be undiscovered, so you can stay within the bounds of the game and still have endless areas to explore within it. However, it can be a fascinating prospect to reach a system that you can almost be certain will always be 100% your own. Nobody will ever likely be able to see that system apart from you. Additionally, it is simply a unique phenomenon that can be interesting to play around with. In regards to how to access these systems, this is where things get a bit complicated, which is why I decided to make this video in the first place. I'm not an expert coder or anything like that. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but I am by no means an expert in any of the save editing stuff in this game. And so it took me a little bit to figure out, and there's no video tutorials on it. As far as I know, there could be, but I didn't find any. And as somebody who usually just plays video games for fun, I've never really considered doing any means of making my own. It was a bit difficult to figure out at first, so I wanted to make this video sort of for beginners or people who just aren't experienced in that regard, so they can just do some of this stuff too. As mentioned before, there are two ways to access these systems. The first way to get to these strange systems is if you or another player has placed a base within one of them that you can then warp to get to them. However, this can be a near impossible task for new players, as your only real option to get there if you haven't built a base there is to find somebody else who does have a base there, which can be increasingly difficult considering these haven't been possible within the bounds of the regular gameplay in a very long time. So you're unlikely to find many current players who are able to bring you to their base. Additionally, most systems around where a player might have a base are likely to have already been discovered. So if you really want to find a system that you can call all your own, then I'd suggest using the latter method if you're on PC. Unfortunately, the latter method does not work if you're not on PC due to it requiring a save editor, which I believe is impossible for Xbox and PS4 or PS5. But that might still be a possibility. I haven't looked into it considering I am a PC player. Focusing back in on the base method, how did people get there in the first place? Because people didn't know that these systems existed. They just were not there one day, then someone discovered them, and then all of a sudden they were a part of the game. So how were they discovered? Well, like a lot of things that are discovered in this game, it happened through a bug. A teleporter bug, to be exact, where, if you don't know No Man's Sky, there are teleporters that can send you from wherever you are currently to your bases, to other space stations, basically anywhere that has one of these teleporters. If you place one down, or there's one there, you can get basically to anywhere you have logged. To a certain extent, I believe there is a cap on bases and whatnot, but I haven't personally encountered that yet, so I'm not an expert on that by any means. Essentially, from what I can gather, there was a strange glitched base that some users encountered while in a space station in close proximity to the galaxy core that allowed them to warp to the system that I mentioned before, Lakolu, which was a glitch system, very glitchy, game-breaking. People were able to get there, but unfortunately after getting there, they became stranded and they weren't able to get back out. So they were trapped here. I'm not sure if emergency warp modules worked or were in existence by that point. They could move around between some of these phantom systems with an emergency warp module, which will be important later. We'll get into that more. But they couldn't leave this inner galaxy core because the closest system in proximity to them was too far for even the highest level of hyperdrive to jump. They were stranded here, but a lot of people encountered this bug, so they made a base. And that's how a lot of people nowadays continue to get into these phantom systems, because other people have built a base. But for new players, that can be more difficult since they are new to the game and they don't know really any other players, most likely, apart from maybe some friends that maybe haven't played the game that long either. And this brings us to our second method, which is my preferred method, and the method I suggest anybody playing on PC to use. Obviously, again, this isn't possible on Xbox and PlayStation as far as I know, but perhaps in the future, or maybe just beyond my knowledge, there is a way to do this. But this method is editing your save through a save editor. I have linked a save editor in the description, which is the one that I personally use, and I think it's the best for this. This is what I'm going to be essentially showing off. I'm going to be showing how I personally do it on the save editor. It works flawlessly, and it can be useful for stuff outside of this as well. But this is personally what I suggest you do, but it's up to you. Most save editors should work as long as they allow you to edit the raw save information, which is why I wanted to make this video, because it can get a bit difficult sometimes. So, without further ado, real quickly, I am going to jump over to a screen where I'll be commentating it live, and I'll show you how to do it. So let's get right into that. So as you can see here we are on the No Man's Sky save editor that I will personally be using for this. This should be the up-to-date version, and as you can see here, I have this save opened here. This is just a random save I've used for just trying out the Phantom Stars, and unfortunately I won't be able to show if this works or not on camera because my computer can't run No Man's Sky and OBS or really anything else at the same time, because No Man's Sky is such a demanding game from your GPU and your CPU. So I'm just going to show this here. I will give it a test just to make sure it does work, but it should. I've never had any issues with it working. So I guess here we go. So first of all, what you're going to need to do here is, well, I mean, first of all, you see all these things. You don't need to worry about any of this. If you want more information on that, there are videos out there about it. I could make one myself, but we're not going to worry about any of this for this video. What we're going to go to here is go to edit, and then we're going to go to edit raw JSON. So this is just a random save. It's nothing crazy for me. So as you can see here, we've got all this different stuff, and it looks a bit daunting. I will say it was a bit daunting for me as well. I do actually have a Phantom save loaded on here right now, or a Phantom Star, I should say. And as you can see here, we've got all of these, and none of this stuff from here down to here really matters. Reality index, this isn't crucial for this video, but this is the galaxy. So you could put in any number from 0 to 255 and you'd get any of the galaxies in the game. If you put in any other number, either negative or positive, it will replicate the 256th galaxy, which normally isn't accessible in the game, but you can access it through a save editor. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got now this galactic address section, and this is really where we're gonna need to focus on. So as you can see here, I've got 0000 loaded up here, or 000. I think I said 4 zeros there. I'm tired today. It's been a long day. This is my second time recording because my first recording got lost somewhere along the way, so I had to re-record. This is a while after I recorded the initial bit, but here we go. So this is essentially the X, Y, Z values. And I believe No Man's Sky, you don't want to make it go too high because No Man's Sky isn't actually that big in terms of these values themselves. The No Man's Sky universe is actually only, I believe some of these only go up to a couple hundred in value. It doesn't really matter though. I would stay below 100 at least on the Y value, probably the others as well, because it doesn't really matter. It's not like one region's phantom stars is going to be any different than another. But as you can see here, we have 000 loaded here, which I will just keep in. I mean, obviously you can just put in random stuff here. It doesn't really matter, but I will stick with 000, which is going to put us in the galactic core of this galaxy, which I'm not entirely sure what it's called. I'll just go to 0 because that is Euclid, which is the main one. And next, what we are going to want to do is go to Solar System Index. Planet Index doesn't really matter. It will, I guess, supposedly place you around a certain planet, but again, that isn't necessary. All you need to do is just get into these systems. So Solar System Index, you go here, just click on this, and now what you're going to want to do is change this number. As you can see here, I have 1211 loaded, and now what you're going to want to do is put in anywhere from 600 to 4095. And it's one less than the number I mentioned before, because 0 is also considered a value for a solar system here. So 4095, I should say, is the max I would put in. I'm not entirely sure what happens if you go above that, but I don't think it works. It might just put you in a replicate of the 4096 solar system. I'm not entirely sure. But, so here we go. We have this. This is where we're going to do our work. So it doesn't really matter what value you put in, as I said. So I'm just going to put in, I guess, 1234, which I did 1211 before just because it's a random number. Doesn't really matter again. And planet index, as I said, we don't have to worry about, but as long as this value is between 600 and 4095, this should produce a phantom system that you can visit and access. Again, I would do this with a creative save and potentially with mods, particularly a hyperdrive range mod, just so you can get out of there if you need to. But again, you do always have the option of editing this again to just say a different value in this section, which should take you to a more accessible part of the universe. But yeah, that's really all you need to do for this part. As I said, I just put this as 000 because that's going to put you in the galactic core, which is the most famous spot for phantom systems. But you can put in any value, and as long as this value, the solar system index, I'm pointing to the screen, I don't know why, but as long as this solar system index is above 600, oh shit, just hit my mouse, my bad. As long as this solar system index is above 600 and below 4095, remember not 4096 because that's not in existence, as long as it's in between 600 and 4095, you will likely see a phantom system. And once you go into the galactic map, it might look a little bit interesting. I've heard of crashes happening before. I haven't personally encountered any of that, so I'm not sure. But the galactic map might look a little funky, but it's no problem. You should be fine here. And if you use your emergency warp, you can warp between this system and other systems around it, other Phantom systems. So really, now you're just free to explore, and you can go to different regions, different galaxies. They should retain the properties of whatever galaxy you put in. So if it's a normal galaxy, it'll be normal. It's really just extra systems that exist or have the potential to exist, but aren't accessible normally for whatever reason. But here we go. So this should work, and again, I will test it out just to make sure. And what I would do before you close this out is I would just click here, go to version. It doesn't really matter. You can just click anywhere except just click one of these tabs down here, separate from this one. And as you can see, it says the JSON data has changed. Do you wish to apply these changes to the save file? And I would click yes, because that's what I want to do. Go X, and then we go save changes. I'm not sure if that's any different, but there we go. And now that should be saved, and now you can just go into the game, find, wherever your Phantom system is that you want to visit, and visit and hop around using the emergency warp drive. I suggest using creative mode, as I've said before, but really any mode will work. That's about it for this tutorial, and let's get right back to the normal video. Alright, and there we go. There you have it. Hopefully you will be able to discover Phantom systems to your heart's delight now, and I hope that this helps you out in some way. Again, if you're not on PC, I'm sorry, there's just not much I can do about it. It's obviously, save editing is going to be difficult on a console game, but if you have it on Steam or something else, definitely this will work. And again, if for whatever reason it doesn't, let me know, but it should. And I would like to mention a lot of the information here comes from the No Man's Sky fandom wiki, which has a lot of information, which is how I initially figured out how to reach these systems, but it's not very descriptive and a bit difficult to comprehend, so it took me a bit to get it. So I wanted to just make this to make it more comprehensible for somebody who, like me, going into it didn't really know what they were doing. So hopefully that works for you. Be sure to let me know how it goes again. And if you want to subscribe or whatever, or like the video, feel free. Not a big channel, obviously, but it's always appreciated. And I guess I'll see you on the next one. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover. I would like to do Shadow Stars at some point. Unfortunately, it's a bit difficult to do solely because it would take so much work just to even find a single one. I'm probably not going to do anything on that, but if you want to know about other galaxies that aren't accessible within the game, like Galaxy 256, 257, negative galaxies, let me know. Anything else, let me know. I'm happy to do it. I enjoy this game a lot. It's incredibly fun, and yeah, I look forward to playing it more and learning more about it, because there's really just so much to do. I guess thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one, whenever that is.